It is great to see you again on our channel. Daystar is becoming an increasingly contentious topic, and Jonathan Lam's younger sister Rachel is currently explaining her side of the argument while defending herself. In today's video, we will examine Rachel's reaction to the accusations made by Jonathan and Susie Lam, her support for their mother Joni Lam, and Pete, who is on trial for the abuse of Jonathan's child. Because Rachel is a survivor of this kind of sexual assault, she takes accusations of this nature very seriously, as she emphasized in a recent statement. Alternatively, she doubted the veracity of Susie's claims. When Daystar responded to the many accusations leveled against them, the original storybreaker Julie Royce retracted her original piece, adding further drama to the already existing situation. Using this as a jumping-off point, Rachel Lam can now tell the story of what happened on the day when Jonathan and Susie's daughter found Pete in the same room. She started by spreading the word that Julie Royce had retracted major parts of the piece she had written about her family, including her mother Joni, which was breaking news. A lot more is going on here than what you can see. She continues, "Here is all the information you require. Julie clarified that the son of Jonathan and Susie was actually sleeping on a bunk across the room from where she originally said it. What led to this was the combination of Daystar's retraction demand letter and the details revealed by Joni on her Table Talk TV show. Pete was in the room, and he had a 1-year-old son in his arms. Pete was the one who gave birth to the grandson. Pete, the grandchild, and the baby child back then. We have left out every single one of those details." Susie and Jonathan would admit their involvement in the event in a subsequent interview with YouTuber Marcus Rogers. "I told the journalist about this, but we opted not to release it to the public so that children wouldn't be a part of it. His own child was in his arms as he held another child, and that is a crucial point to remember. No, I am not interested in it. However, it's almost as if it didn't exist. According to Rachel, the story's reporting left out these crucial details. Could it be that Julie ignored Susie and Jonathan, even though they had important information to share with her? Susie and Jonathan may have deceived Julie by leaving out important details." In her conclusion, Rachel says that this completely debunks the article's legitimacy no matter the circumstances. After that, Rachel starts to give her take on what happened, which might be boiled down to a statement of facts. A beachfront executive retreat was attended by the Lam family from July 31st through August 7th, 2021. Upon arrival, most of the family members made their way around the house, exploring each room and getting a feel for the layout. In contrast, Pete was busy and concentrated on unloading the car, carrying in the bags, and arranging his room with the necessities his wife needed for their baby, such as the pack and play. After everyone had finished unpacking, the family headed to Whole Foods to stock up on food for the next week. As they were leaving the business, Susie began to whisper something to herself regarding the man standing behind them. She went on the offensive, accusing the man who was serenely glancing at his phone of following her around the store. She started to accuse him of it as soon as her disapproval grew. All of a sudden, Susie's comments took on a much more accusatory tone, which made the man and everyone else look awkward. Rachel asked Susie to calm down and explain what was happening in an attempt to de-escalate the situation. The man had been secretly following Susie around the business, according to Susie. The explosion caught several family members off guard, and they weren't sure what to do in response. They attempted to defuse the situation by ignoring it and quickly changing the topic. They were attempting to avoid more humiliation since they were humiliated by the confrontation. The start of a disturbing pattern of behavior, which was not apparent at the time, was this painful incident. There was something about this that did not seem right. The children of Jonathan and Susie were the center of attention during this vacation because of the bunk room they shared. They were so charming that the kids adored them. The ocean stretched out before you in one corner of the room, while what they called a city view, really simply a street view, spanned the other half. Their then 8-year-old son specifically requested to sleep on the side of the room that offered the best view of the city. Downtown high-rise condo was Pete's home before he and his wife tied the knot. Even though it was the side of the apartment that most people would think was less appealing, Pete would make a comment about how much he missed having a view of the city and how fantastic of a decision it was when their son asked to sleep on that side. The daughter of Jonathan and Susie slept on the side that overlooked the water, and some relatives thought it would be the best option. On one particular afternoon, The kitchen was filled with the sound of conversation as a few relatives caught up. Holding his very fussy newborn, Pete was a doting parent. In most cases, when his baby started to complain, he would just move the baby to a new spot and the baby would calm down. Pete tried to pull this off by publicly introducing himself to the son of Jonathan and Susie and stating, "Hey, I'd like to take you on a tour of your room. Everybody there, including Susie, was observing." What a fascinating view of the city you've been painting for us. As he enthusiastically escorted Pete upstairs to show him his particular place, their son's delight was contagious. At around the same time, Jonathan and Susie's daughter went on their adventure with them. While Pete was still carrying his child, their son took him on a tour of the ocean and naturally showed him about his city, where he was overjoyed. Pete reached over to draw back the drapes so he could see more of the city, while behind them, on the other side of the room, Jonathan and Susie's daughter undressed. As she got ready to hit the beach for the day, she also changed into her swimwear. Jonathan walked up to see his daughter changing, despite the fact that Pete had his back turned the entire time as he was holding his child. He proceeded to accuse Pete of something obscene and yell at him. And this happened while Pete was still holding his child. Pete immediately apologized, saying, "I'm sorry, man," upon realizing that Jonathan's extreme response to him had caught him off guard and left him frustrated. That she was evolving was news to me. I had my back to the wall. According to Rachel, further important details were omitted on purpose to skew the story. She goes on to reveal them. The act of a 5-year-old girl changing into her swimsuit in the presence of her 8-year-old brother and Pete, who is carrying a fussy baby, does not constitute child sexual abuse. But these necessary components were conveniently left out so that a misleading headline could be constructed. The truth behind this harmless situation was twisted by Jonathan and Susie on purpose to support a story they've been pushing for months. When looked at more attentively, though, their claims fall apart. Pete should not have asked Jonathan and Susie's child to show him around the bunk room in front of Susie if he had any ill will toward her. Logic provides the solution to this question. No one with malicious intent would make such a request in such a public forum. To rub salt in the wound, why would Pete want to hold an unhappy baby? Not only is it obviously scheming something wrong, but it will also utilize noise to draw attention to itself. Also, why would he do this while an 8-year-old who can clearly recall and describe what he saw is there in his presence? Simply stating that these errors and omissions are careless is insufficient. This is an extremely serious and calculated effort to discredit someone without offering any proof. Actually, there is absolutely nothing basis or reality to their accusations. Jonathan and Susie knew that these crucial information would ruin their story if they were to be published. In order to back up their false accusations, they willfully left out crucial details, exaggerating the degree of evil in a situation that was truly not malevolent. She continues by saying that there is room camera footage that proves all of this. She claims that the footage shows the exact arrangement of everything, down to their daughter's pink suitcases, her changing area, Pete with his baby, and Jonathan and Susie's son across the room, about 15 feet away. Because their daughter's changing place was concealed behind a dresser, it would have been extremely difficult, if not impossible, to see her even if someone had been gazing in that direction, something that Pete was not doing. It was a sizable room. As he held his child and opened the blinds to look out at the city vista, the son of Jonathan and Susie started telling him all about it. He walked upstairs for no other purpose than this. He was engrossed in holding his infant, his back turned to the world. Their efforts to ignore these crucial pieces of evidence and construct a false narrative show that they are willing to deceive and manipulate the facts to achieve their own goals. In addition to proving that the situation was entirely harmless, these facts also show how far they lied to get people to believe something bad about Pete. You have been given all the information, anointed one. Rachel will stop at nothing to establish her side of the story and defend Pete and her mom, Joni. The declaration made by Rachel adds fuel to the fire of this family drama by casting doubt on the veracity of the statements made by other family members. Rachel claims that Jonathan and Susie are trying to spin the story in a way that benefits themselves. Is she right? Are you thinking about anything? I truly hope Joni would allow an outside business to investigate the matter so we can stop arguing and finally get to the bottom of this. This is an issue that should have been handled privately, and it's sad that Marcus and Joni choose sides. They could no longer have trust in Jonathan and Susie. At the moment, everyone concerned is dealing with a challenging and emotionally charged situation. I was wondering what you felt about Rachel Lam's response and the facts she presented. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and share this video to stay up to date on this evolving story. One of God's children, you are.